Hey guys, what's going on? I thought that I would hop in real quick and give you a quick stock market report. I want to welcome you to the Black Financial Channel. The Black Financial Channel is at theblackfinancialchannel.com. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. So if you want financial news and commentary from a Black perspective on a daily basis, please visit theblackfinancialchannel.com. So let me go through a little bit of what's happening right now in terms of the market. This morning, you probably woke up and saw some good news in your stock portfolio. You probably saw some wealth kind of pop into your account as the market moved up. But then you saw a lot of that wealth disappear a little bit later on in the day. Right now, the S&P at this time, which is 11:30 a.m. Central, which is 12:30 Eastern, on the 27th of May, the S&P has dropped by about 1.5%. The NASDAQ has dropped 1.3%, with a lot of the leading tech companies kind of leading the way. Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Alphabet, which is the parent company of Google, dropping by about 0.3%. But the Dow remained up a little bit. Companies that benefit from the whole stay-at-home culture that's been created since the start of the pandemic, those companies, Zoom and Netflix in particular, that have benefited, Shopify, Amazon, etc., those all fell quite a bit. So it looks like a lot of money is being moved out of those stocks, and it's kind of unfortunate that money moves in and moves out that way, but that's what it is. I still think these companies are good long-term investments, but these are among those rare companies that actually benefited from the pandemic. I mean, you saw companies like Zoom just skyrocket because of the whole pandemic situation. Bank stocks actually are doing really well. Bank stocks went up quite a bit. JP Morgan Chase was up 3.6%. Citigroup went up about 4.9%. And I've actually invested in a few different bank stocks, so I'm actually happy about that. And so Art Rogan, the chief market strategist at National Securities, says this is a rotation that we should get used to. He noted that broader indexes could be under pressure at the start of it, since some of the stay-at-home names make up a big chunk of the S&P 500's market cap. It's not necessarily index positive when the mean reversion happens, but it's certainly much better to have this rally broaden out. So basically, what he's talking about in terms of the broadening out of the rally is that it's not just a few stocks that are sort of moving forward. It's sort of becoming sort of the whole economy, sort of in its entirety. All 50 states in the U.S. have reopened their economies to some extent. On Tuesday, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy said the state would allow professional sports teams to resume practicing competitions. The world is starting to return to normalcy. You guys know this week, I took my family down to Florida, and we're going to hang out and we're going to travel across the country and stuff. And really, when you're down here, you see a whole different culture from what you might see in other places. Maybe, I don't know, a Democratic state like Illinois, where I'm from. You're not seeing people wearing masks everywhere. There are some stores that require masks. Restaurant workers are wearing masks. Regular people are not wearing masks. And so I personally, I know we have masks in the car, but we don't, we do our, we keep our hand sanitizer and all that, but we're not wearing masks either. So, while people might want to preach and say, oh my God, you're going to die. Unfortunately, the data does not support this belief that we're all going to die because we don't wear face masks. The face mask thing was kind of a trend. It's really, and if you notice now, the media, even liberal media, is starting to move away from talking about the virus because there's not anything there. There's just, all this death and carnage that they were predicting, like when they opened up Georgia and Florida and everything else. And they were like, oh my God, all these people are going to die. The hospital is going to be overflowed. All these, all those little memes that they put up about people dying because they opened up their barbershop 2 weeks early, that just didn't pan out. So what's happened now is that if you were one of those businesses that waited, you're going to lose. You're going to lose money because somebody's been stealing your competitor, or a competitor's been stealing your customers while you were sitting at home, hiding under the bed. So let's see here. The market's making what they call a V-shaped pattern, which is good, which hopefully will speed us to a strong recovery. But there's, according to this quote, there's a tremendous amount of skepticism around that. But we are starting now to see some evidence in the data turning. I don't believe that yet. I think that earnings announcements, earnings expectations, earnings warnings from companies, whatever that comes out, I think that's going to really shape what's going to happen. So the stocks tend to move based on either changes in expectations in earnings or information about realizations in earnings or other forms of information that affect long-term earning potential. And so I believe that the expectations are going to change. I believe companies are going to start realizing like, whoa, wait, we're not making as much money as we thought. I also believe that what will be really interesting is how close the expectation is to the realization. Are we overestimating our ability to recover or underestimating? So far, things like consumer confidence, which is a really important driver of the economy, how confident consumers feel and how much they feel, good about the future. That's actually been higher than they expected. And I think now, given honestly, just being 100% honest with you, I think that media worked really, really hard to make you afraid. And now you're going to flip and see media working really hard to make you unafraid, to make you confident again, to go spend because, they're going to be doing all they can to get the economy moving again. Biotech company Novavax said it started its first human trials on a corona vaccine. Also, the Mortgage Bankers Association reported a 6th straight weekly rise in mortgage applications. So people are buying houses, which is great for consumer confidence. It says people, for whatever reason, somehow they're finding money and they're buying houses and banks are loaning them money. And that's good. When people are buying things and banks are loaning them money, then those are more transactions, which lifts up the economy. So that's all these are all good signs. However, stocks' recent strength. Last week, the Dow has had its best week since early April. Still leaves the Dow down 12% in 2020. The S&P 500 is off 7.4%. So, this hasn't been a great year for investing, but I do think it's a great year for long-term investing. So that's my 2 cents. That's what I believe. Please invite Neely Fuller on your show. I don't have guests typically that much on my show. Typically, people that come on as guests are people that reach out to me because I don't see myself as a show host. I see myself as a person, as a professor, as a teacher who happens to have a YouTube channel. But if Neely Fuller wants to reach out or somebody who knows him, feel free to have him email us. Our email is producer@flynubianmedia.com. That's producer@flynubianmedia.com. And maybe we can work something out. But no, I'm not really big on chasing down guests and all that stuff. We don't really do that stuff so much here. All right. So anyway, I hope that this is helpful to you. Don't forget, our Black Stock Market Challenge starts on June 1st. So it's going to be a free challenge that gives you 5 days of lessons and information for free, totally free, short videos you can watch that will dramatically push you forward in your journey as an investor. So if you'd like to join, it's totally free. You can go to theblackstockmarketchallenge.com. That's theblackstockmarketchallenge.com. Use the hashtag Black Stock Market Challenge and talk about your journey. Maybe share a picture of stock. I don't know if share a stock you bought or a video with your child talking about the stocks you bought or something like that. Use that hashtag Black Stock Market Challenge, and maybe I'll share it on my social media or something like that. Let's see here. I honestly think that T says, I honestly think our people need to take a deep self-analysis before looking into stocks in order to truly respect the market. Self-love equates money. Okay. Well, I agree. I think self-love is important. I think when you talk about money, really knowing what money is for, what it means to you is really important. For example, I think money matters. Like I want to have money for my family to be able to provide security. That's very important to me as a man. It's also important to me as a Black man because I know money is a pathway to freedom. Even during slavery, you could buy your freedom from your master. So especially now, money provides you the ability to buy your freedom from the corporate plantation. It also buys you influence and things like that. But really, at that point, I think if you're a person that just chases money so you can have fancy cars and big houses and all this other stuff and expensive clothes, you're eventually going to get tired of that. At least my opinion is that does not last forever. That's like a temporary drug, and that's not going to make you happy. So find a purpose behind your money before you go and pursue wealth. Wealth is important, but purpose is more important because that'll help you drive, in terms of what it is you want to do and why. Ronnie says, Doc, will you please consider doing your own Black Agenda seminar with a group of distinguished people you believe can come up with an out-of-the-box idea to demand from the Democratic Party? Well, there are some Black agendas laid out there. I think it's a good idea, Ronnie. Dr. Claude Anderson and I, every Thursday, we do Powernomics Thursday. and on drboycetv.com. So you should check that out. Dr. Anderson has a Black agenda in mind. And what I'll do is I'll ask him to reiterate that, particularly in light of what's been going on with, the police and stuff like that. And he actually does a good job in Powernomics of explaining how building your economic base is deeply connected to everything that you want to do when it comes to dealing with criminal justice issues, politics, all that. Politicians are controlled by money. Black people get disrespected because we don't have an economic base, which would then translate into an adequate political base, which allows you to engage in adequate activism. Most activism dies because it's not an economic base. So you have to really think about economics as you're thinking about everything else. Let's see here. Sherry says, Dr. Boyce, please stop spreading that dumb shit about not wearing a mask and gloves to potentially protect yourself from a virus that has the power to invisibly kill people. Well, Sherry, I'll tell you what. You might watch media, but I look at data. I look at statistics because I don't trust MSNBC. I don't trust Fox. I don't trust Democrats, and I don't trust Republicans. I trust my own eyes. I trust my research. And based on my research, your odds of dying from that virus are less than your odds of being killed in a car crash. So, Sherry, given that you want to be safe, here's what I recommend you do. Never leave your house ever again. Never get in a car for the rest of your life, because if you get in a car, you substantially increase your chances of dying in a car accident. You should never have sex again for the rest of your life, because people have STDs that can kill you. And just don't leave your house. So, Sherry, I will respectfully disagree and say, if you want to be safe, there are ways to be safe. Fear is a great way to stay safe. Just never do anything, never leave your house, never go anywhere, and don't have any friends, whatever. But I've looked at the data. And I care about protecting my family, but I also understand how media and politics can be deliberately manipulative. And when I saw this data and I talked to doctors, and I talked to experts, and I read through the research in detail, I said something is not adding up here. Because, when you talk about 100,000 people that went down from the virus, which is a terrible number, don't forget 65,000 people died last year from the flu. And y'all weren't talking about, staying home forever during the flu. You weren't talking about shutting down the economy over the flu. So until those numbers reach the millions, until you're talking about 2-3 million people, then, which still means you have a 99% chance of survival, right? Even 3 million people in a country of 331 million, 3 million would still be 1%, right? But take 3 million, take 1%, divide it by 30, and that's what you have with this. And if you look at the numbers of the people that were being most affected, a lot of these people were people that were going to die anyway. When they were going through MSNBC on Memorial Day, reading the names of the victims from the virus, which my heart goes out to all of them. They were like, here's we want to remember 91-year-old Sherry Miller, who was in a nursing home. She's 91. You're 91, you go to a nursing home. It's not like you have your whole life in front of you. You're 91. So I'm not trying to say that 91-year-olds don't matter. Everybody's life matters, but a 91-year-old is not the same as a 1-year-old, right? So I would just say to you that I try to look at logic. I try to look at information. I try to, sort of take things in, but I'm not going to walk around teaching people how to be afraid, because that's a damn lie. I think that would be incredibly manipulative if I was running around telling you to be scared. I tell you to be afraid of other things. Like I try to tell you that you should be afraid of the fact that you're sending your children to white supremacist educational institutions to educate your kids when they're little, and it's brainwashing them and destroying them. I tell you to be afraid of that. I tell you to be afraid of the fact that you've got big white universities that will put you in so much debt that you will never pay that debt before you die. I tell you to be afraid of that. I tell you to be afraid of the fact that media is manipulating the minds of Black people and the images of Black people on every single level, to the point where they're making police feel justified to kill your sons or whatever, because they're portraying them through music and media and movies to be animals and savages. I tell you to be afraid of that. So I'm not anti-fear, but I'm anti-ignorance, right? So I'm pro-logic, I'm pro-information, I'm pro-truth. So that's where I stand on that. So that's my 2 cents on it. So if you don't agree, that's okay. There's plenty of places you can go that will feed into your fear, and I encourage you to go there. But at the end of the day, I'm going to look for the truth. Let's see here, Ronnie. Where do you get stats? Go look up. If you look up coronavirus statistics, you can find stats that come from either the World Health Organization or worldinfo.gov. They have stats that track for every single state. And so you can go look at, like I look at all the data. Then I go listen to what the liberals say, and then I go listen to what the conservatives say. And then I go and I talk to my sister's a doctor. She signs the death certificates. And she was actually mentioning to me, she said, yeah, a lot of these deaths, there's something ain't right with these death certificates and the way they're defining what it means to die from this. And this is not just my sister and her colleagues saying this. This is something that has been said on a national level. So there's a lot of issues there. They're just really, seriously. Your channel helped during this pandemic a lot, says T. Well, thank you. I appreciate you hearing my point of view. My thing is not so much to get you to believe what I say. You don't have to believe anything I say. My goal is to make sure that we have all voices heard. You have to hear dissenting voices if you want to get the truth. You don't, if you go in the courtroom, you don't go in the courtroom and just listen to the defense attorney, because the defense attorney is going to convince you that their client is a choir boy, that their client would never hurt a fly, right? And you don't want to go into court just listening to the prosecutor, because the prosecutor is going to give you one perspective. In the prosecutor's mind, the client is definitely guilty, right? You want to go in as the judge. And what the judge does is the judge says, let me listen to the defense attorney, let me listen to the prosecutor, and then let me look at some facts, and then I will make a judgment. So I go into things as a judge. I don't go into it as a defense attorney or as a prosecutor. I try not to. So, but unfortunately, you don't live in a world that thinks that way. You go into a world where people are playing for one team or the other. And because you're afraid of saying something that's going to make the team mad at you, like a lot of you are afraid of speaking on what you might see about the virus, because you got friends on your social media that will say, oh, you must be a Republican. You must be a pro-Trump. You must be. It's like, no, I'm not. What makes you think I'm pro-Trump? Because I just question this data, right? So I think at the end of the day, I'm not going to say everybody has to be intelligent, because everybody ain't intelligent. I'm not saying everybody has to be logical, because everybody ain't logical. I'm trying to say that that's what I am. That's what I want to be. And I speak best to logical, intelligent people. I'm not good at talking to dumbasses. I'm just not. Let's see here. All right. So let's see if Rick Flair says, do you think the single point of failure for Black people's financial literacy or lack thereof? I wouldn't call it the single point of failure. I think that's kind of a harsh way to look at it. But I would say it is an opportunity for improvement. How about that? If I will just say this is, I stand by this. I put this on everything I love. If the Black community committed as much energy to economic intelligence, starting businesses, making investments, and owning property, if we put as much energy into that as we put into sports and entertainment, we would literally become the single most dominant economic force on the planet. Like, we would literally, if you look at the greatness we've displayed in entertainment and sports, and you translate that to stock ownership, real estate, and business ownership, we would be able to literally transfer $10 trillion into the Black economy within a generation. Seriously, because the wealth game is a game that's played where smart people take money from dumb people, prepared people take money from unprepared people, educated people take money from uneducated people, patient people take money from impatient people, the strong take money from the weak. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's what it is. So my goal is to reach out to all the Black folks that are on board with this agenda and saying to them, let's be prepared. Let's be strong. Let's be patient. Let's be dedicated. Let's be the ones. Let's be the early birds, because the early bird gets that worm, right? But instead, we're trained to be the late birds. We're trained to not proact. We're trained to react. We're trained to get there late and then get mad because everybody else ate the big piece of chicken, right? We were late on gentrification, but there were Black people that were the canaries in the mine. People like Kenny Gamble out in Philadelphia were screaming about gentrification in the 1970s. 1970s, Kenny Gamble said, we need to buy up our own communities. We need to own this property because these white folks are going to come back, and then we won't be able to do that later on, right? So Kenny Gamble, when he became a famous writer, he wrote 3,000 songs with Gamble and Huff. Kenny Gamble went out in Philadelphia to all those areas that had hookers and crack and heroin and whatever, and he bought dozens of houses because they were just being sold for nothing, and he owned that property. 30 years later, when Philadelphia started getting gentrified, the property values went up, building his wealth into the millions and building his power even beyond that, right? And that was just a Black man who was being prepared, who was thinking ahead. He did all that while his friends were using their music money to go buy Cadillacs and hotel rooms and vacation spots or whatever, right? So really, wealth really is a game. And sometimes you lose a game because the other side cheats and they take it from you, which is fine. But even when they cheat, even when they take it from you, that still is a sign that you still weren't prepared, because you can only take something from me if I let you have it, right? If you're strong enough to take it. If I'm ready, if I'm ready to fight for what I got, then you can't take it from me. It's hard for you to take it from me, right? If you cheat in the game and you win because you cheated, then that might mean maybe I didn't understand the game well enough. Maybe cheating is the way to play it. Maybe we all need to cheat. I don't know. And so I'm not saying that cheating and stealing are good things. I'm just saying that, you are in a wealth game with a lot of people that are cheaters and stealers and all this other stuff. But I would say that the best way to defend yourself against cheaters and stealers is not just to react to it and get upset about it and whine about it when it happens, but you also want to be smarter and be prepared so that when they come along and try to hustle you and steal from you and manipulate you, you're able to think above the manipulation. Is it time to go, babe? Go.
I'm going to check on the kids.
Okay, go see if the kids are ready. All right, we're about to go to the mall with the kids, so got to deal with kids and stuff. Okay, guys. So do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. Also, don't forget the Black Stock Market Challenge starts on June 1st. It's totally free. You can register at theblackstockmarketchallenge.com. That's theblackstockmarketchallenge.com. It'll give you these are short lessons, it'll take you less than 5 minutes to go through each one, with little assignments that will elevate your game as an investor. So if you're at level 1, it'll take you to level 2. If you're level 0, we'll get you to level 1. But this is something I wanted to do, and we put this together, and thousands of you have signed up already. So feel free to sign up if you'd like to join theblackstockmarketchallenge.com. Let's see. Mojo says they're not being taken. Black people giving away their power, buying sneakers in a pandemic. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the other thing too, right? It's like if you play in a basketball game, there are times where the other team does things that you can't stop. Maybe their offense is so good that you can't defend yourself, or maybe their defense was so good that you couldn't move the ball. That's almost something you can live with sometimes, right? You still want to get better, but you won't beat yourself up over that every time. What you beat yourself up over is when you had the ball and you threw the ball on the ground and you fumbled it deliberately, or you had a wide open touchdown, but you didn't even know how to throw the pass to the right receiver, or you didn't know how to, you didn't go into the end zone, right? So that's the biggest concern I would say I have for Black folks that don't understand, how this game is played, is that when it comes to wealth, we drop the ball a lot. Like a lot of our habits are really, really bad. A lot of our choices are really, really bad. A lot of our spending habits are just crazy and atrocious. When you talk about poor people that are supposed to be poor, who will argue me into the ground about how they can't invest because they don't have enough money to do it, even though you can start investing for $1. These same people are the first ones that Popeye's Chicken will put restaurants in their hood because they know that they're going to make it rain on the chicken factory. They're going to make it rain on Popeye's Chicken. They're the first people that the Air Jordan brand is going to, not only they're going to steal their cultural influence, but also sell them these overpriced shoes so that when you do get a couple dollars in your pocket, first thing you're doing is you're buying some shoes, and I'm not anti-chicken. I'm not anti-sneakers. What I am is anti-balance. When you're doing the most over here, but you're doing the least over there, that's a problem. Like for example, people think that I'm anti-sports. No, I'm not anti-sports, but when you're doing the most over here with sports, 100 hard work, 3 hours a day, grinding till the sun comes down, but then you're doing the least in education. I don't get that. I don't understand that. That's not going to benefit you. Like you're not going to raise 10 million Black boys to be professional football players because the NFL can only hire a couple hundred at a time, right? So, I just think that we have to kind of sort of look at the big picture. And I'm going to just tell you the truth. I don't believe that all Black people are going to figure this out. I don't believe that all Black people are going to overcome the effects of oppression. The brainwashing runs deep. I'm really speaking out here to be another voice that will speak to those that are truly looking for a solution. I'm speaking to those that truly want to elevate their game. I'm speaking to those that truly want to break the cycle. I'm speaking to those who truly are trying, who are like, damn, I just don't get it. Why do we keep losing? What's happening? So I'm the guy who says, oh, I know why we're losing. Let me explain. Right. And for those, and those, you guys are the ones that keep me going. Like if I depended on ignorant people to motivate me to get up here and talk every day, I wouldn't do it. I would just work with my own family, take care of me and my kids. We're good. We can do whatever we need to do, but I talk publicly and deal with the nonsense on the internet and all the chaos because I'm speaking loudly to let other intelligent Black people know that it's okay to be who you are. It's okay for you to question the matrix, right? And so I'm gonna leave you with these quick points. If you want to question the matrix, here are the things I believe you got to question. One, education. A lot of our people are working against our people because they've been trained to do that since birth. Why? Well, because Malcolm X said that only a fool will let his enemy and his oppressor educate his children. That's the first thing. So I believe, radically speaking, that given this pandemic has given you the opportunity to take your kids out of those racist schools, I'm encouraging you to keep them out. You can educate your child on the internet. All you need to really make sure your child is educated is to make sure they nail reading, that they're reading every day, they're writing something every day, and they're doing math on a regular basis. And then at that point, teach them some Black history, and then teach them some economics, the 3 pillars of wealth: stock investing, real estate investing, how to start a business. Your child's going to be better educated than most of the kids in the public school system right there. Those 6 areas, reading, writing, math, Black history, so they know who the hell they are. Did I lose a finger? Maybe it's 7 things. Reading, writing, math, Black history, the 3 pillars of wealth: stock investing, real estate investing, how to start a business. That's 7 things. I said 6. Sorry. See, maybe I need to work on my math because I apparently can't count. But do you get the point? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, let me know. Give me a yes in the chat if you get what I'm saying here. That's all your child needs. And I can help you get a lot of that. Like I'm here with you every day. Like I'm more educated than all your children's teachers. I have a PhD. There are lots of other smart people like this out there where our voices are available to you. The Black Business School is there. You can start in the Black Business School for free. You don't need money to get started in the Black Business School. Theblackbusinessschool.com. And we educate children. We believe education, college education, business education should be something for everybody age 5 and up, not just for college students, right? So that's the first thing I say. So education is killing your kids. Number 2 is economically speaking. 2 things are happening. 2 things need to happen for Black people to really gain power economically to get our reparations, or what I call our real reparations, because they're not going to give you reparations. They're going to give you fake reparations. They're going to give you symbolic reparations. They're going to pay you in Wendy's coupons. Seriously, they're going to send some Wendy's coupons and a McDonald's gift certificate, and you're going to be like, oh, thank you, white Jesus, I got my reparations. But then you're going to wonder why you're still losing even after the reparations checks come in. It's going to be like that stimulus check where you couldn't hardly pay no bills with that. You know what I'm talking about? That's what they're going to do. They didn't even do right by their own people when it came to the stimulus. So you really think they're going to do right by Black people? Come on now. I mean, if you believe that, then good luck with that. But anyway, the real reparations will come from really understanding how we can change this thing economically. And I've thought about this. These are models. Again, when you have a PhD, I'm not just a guy who read a couple of books. I'm not just a financial expert. PhDs are the people who train financial experts. PhDs are not people who read a couple of books and regurgitate what's in the book. Anybody can do that. PhDs write the books. We have to, as a requirement for our job, be on the frontier of knowledge in the field that we speak on, right? Frontier of knowledge means that if I go in, when I was writing my dissertation, if I came in and regurgitated some stuff I read in some books and said, look at all this stuff that I know from what I read in books, my dissertation advisor would have rejected my dissertation. He'd say, everybody knows this already. There's nothing new here. You have to expand the frontier of knowledge. So what I really committed myself to doing is expanding the frontier of knowledge when it comes to Black economics and saying, what is going to be required for us to solve the Black wealth problem? Why is it that Black wealth is expected to drop to 0? Median Black wealth is expected to drop to 0 by 2053. what is required to stop that? What's causing it, and where do we plug the leak, and how do we fill the sink back up? So here's what two things that have to occur. If these two things were to happen, that would flip everything on its head in one generation. One is you have to have what I call what was the term I used for that? A reclamation of Black wealth, right? You have to reclaim that 1.3 trillion in spending power. If you're making 1.3 trillion and you're giving away 1.25 trillion of that 1.3 trillion, then you have nothing left. You lose everything, and then you have to start from nothing, and you have to go back to work for a white man so you can get another 1.3 trillion so you can give all that away too. If you could get, 10% of that 1.3 trillion to circulate back into the Black community, by supporting Black businesses, or whatever it is that you believe in doing that keeps the money circulating in your community, that right there would every year create hundreds of billionaires and thousands of millionaires in our community. It would also create thousands of jobs, and which leads to the second piece. Black people don't need more jobs. The reason that you're economically dependent and broken is because you think you're white. You think that because you believe that you're white, that you can do what white people do. So what a Black person does who thinks that they're white, unfortunately, is they'll go to like Brown University and get a degree and say, well, white guys can go get a degree and just go get a job, so I can too. And then you go get a job, usually working for a white person, because white people have infrastructure, they have industry, they own the companies that you're going to go work for. And then you're dealing with all this discrimination because you're learning the unfortunate reality that people care about their own more than they care about you. White folks, a white man will take care of a white man before he takes care of a Black man, which is logical, because I'm gonna take care of a Black man before I ever take care of anybody else. That's what it is, right? And then you don't have any ownership. You're sort of allocating all this economic energy, all this labor to building a company for somebody that is not even in your community. And then also, as successful as you claim to be, this symbolic success that we're trained to celebrate in the Black community, that's like, oh my God, this Black person went to Harvard, right? It means absolutely nothing, for the community itself. It's a one-off. It's one person who got one job working for a white person who's going to go live off in the suburbs. And there's no impact on the Black community almost whatsoever, other than the symbolic of saying, oh, if he did it, I can do it too. If he left and abandoned his community and is off making money working for white people, then I can do that too. That's not a real dream. Like that's not a good objective, right? So basically, you don't need more people working for white folks. You don't need more jobs. You need job creators. Because here's the difference between a job seeker and a job creator, meaning that we need an army. We need 5-10 million Black boys and black girls, especially Black boys, because Black boys are the most unemployed people. They're growing into Black men who are the most unemployed group of people in America. And there's a reason for that. There's a logical reason for that. They're afraid of Black men. Black men are very threatening. Black men are not a group of people that they will ever seek to empower. And so basically, you need millions of Black kids trained to be job creators, because the difference between a job seeker and a job creator is that a job seeker is seeking to serve someone else. They're looking for a master, right? A job creator is looking to become a king. They're looking to actually create something new. A job seeker is a person that's going to go make one income that serves one person and allows one person to live a better life. A job creator is looking to create incomes for other people so that 10, 12, 20 people can work underneath that person and they can live a sustained life. A job seeker is somebody who is looking for someone to give him an opportunity. A job creator is trained to create opportunities by looking into the environment and seeing where needs need to be met, where entities can be established that can allow for institutional infrastructure that will create a better life for multiple people. Do you follow me? You see, so because the biggest thing Black people don't have is you don't have institutions that are dedicated to you. You don't have think tanks. You don't have businesses. You don't have, just organizations in general. You don't have universities and schools and on all these things that white folks have that sustain who they are. They sustain their ideology. They sustain their power. They sustain their wealth. You don't have these institutions. So your children just end up scattered and splattered all over the place, begging for an opportunity from anybody who will give them one. They're like stuck in the rain seeking shelter because they don't have a house. You need to build houses. You need builders. That's what you need. That's your number one priority for this generation is you need builders, which will come in the form of investors who build capital bases, maybe through stock ownership, through real estate, and also those who want to start and create businesses, but they need to know how to develop businesses, how to develop systems, because systems are what will sustain you. Systems are what keep you oppressed. You see, you're not oppressed because there's some white guy down the street who thinks who thinks that black people are inferior. You're not oppressed because you met a white lady in the grocery store who clutches her purse every time she sees you. That doesn't oppress you, because who cares what that old white lady thinks? Who cares what that racist, toothless redneck down the street thinks? You're not oppressed by individuals. You're oppressed by systems. So you will not be liberated by individuals. You will not be liberated by symbolic success. You will not be liberated by one-offs. You'll be liberated by systems. Systems are what oppresses you. Systems are what will liberate you. So basically, as black people, I think those are some key issues that I think if we focus on those issues and we solve those problems, at least solve them on a family level, right? You can't change the whole black community, right? But you can change your family. Like you can just say, in this family, everybody in this family is going to at least know the benefits of having their own business. They're going to know the benefits of ownership and the acquisition of resources, land, property, things like that. They're going to be stock owners by the time they're 4 years old, right? Because I can go in on a Cash App and buy my baby $10 worth of stock. That's easy to do, right? By doing those things, you can establish, at least within your family, an institutional infrastructure that allows the people that you love to eat, right? And that's what it is at the end of the day. Can your people eat, and can your people be free? And one thing I can tell you is, as a man that's committed to that, as a man who's committed to kind of getting off the grid and saying, I'm going to, I want to preserve my manhood, number one. So I'm not running around here trying to have a boss and somebody telling me what to do, somebody spitting in my face and disrespecting me. I want to make sure that, my woman is protected and taken care of. I want to make sure that any child that I'm responsible for has opportunities that I can help create that are independent of them sort of having to go down the street and beg somebody else to give them an opportunity. Those are things that I think give you a fulfilling existence, right? So that the last point I'm gonna make, because we're about to leave. Okay, is look, you must understand the whole black community ain't coming with you. Most black folks ain't gonna get it. Most people aren't gonna listen. But because you're listening right now, I think that this solution is the one that you're looking for. I think this is one you should add to your arsenal of possibilities that exist in your life. This is off the grid. This is completely different, but I've seen it in action and I know that it works. So regain your pride, regain your dignity, regain your self-determination, and just know that a lot of what you've been taught is trained to control you. You must take control of the situation yourself. So I got to go, guys. We're about to head to the mall, and love all of you. And don't forget, the Black Stock Market Challenge starts on June 1st. You can sign up at theblackstockmarketchallenge.com, THE. That's theblackstockmarketchallenge.com. Also, make sure you subscribe to the Black Financial Channel on YouTube and everything else, and hit the thumbs up before you go. And I'll see you soon. Take care. Have a great day. Love you all very much. And I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Marriage therapy. Are you still on? Yeah, this thing is not. There we go. Okay.